Saddleback Educational Publishing's Logan's Lesson. Pablo stepped off the bus into the warm sun. Other students spilled out after him. They were in his science class. The cool kids gathered in a group, but Pablo stood alone. Their teacher, Mrs. Hunt, had been planning this field trip for months. The class was studying plants. Pablo was excited to see some in the wild. "Class, listen up," Mrs. Hunt said. "I'm going to put you in teams of 2. She called out names. Soon there were only 2 left. "Pablo," she said, "you will be with Logan." Logan shook his head. "No way! Not the nerd!" "Mr. Witt," Mrs. Hunt said. "No name-calling." Logan Witt was one of the cool kids. He never spoke to Pablo. Mrs. Hunt turned to the class. "You have your list of plant names. Your goal is to check off each one you find." She pointed down a winding dirt path. "Everyone must stay on the trail. This is a big state park. Staying on the trail will keep you safe. I'll walk with you. Let's go." Pablo stood next to his partner. Logan looked at his cell phone. He sent a text to a friend. The rest of the class began to walk away. "Hey, nerd," Logan said. "My name is Pablo." "Guess what, Pablo? There is gold in this park." Pablo shook his head. "I'm serious. A man lived in a small shack here. He hid a chest of gold. It was a long time ago." "That is an old story," Pablo said. "It's not true." "Sure it is," Logan said. "I know where the shack was. The gold could still be there. Wouldn't you rather find treasure than plants?" "No, Mrs. Hunt said to stay on the trail." "Don't be such a nerd," Logan teased. "Stop calling me that," Pablo said. "I like school. So what?" Logan rolled his eyes. "Whatever." "Okay," Pablo said. "You think you're so smart? If there is gold, prove it. Show me the way." Smiling, Logan looked into the woods. He saw a fence. Mrs. Hunt and the class were ahead of them. "Come on, it's that way. No one is looking. Let's go." Logan ran to the fence. He jumped over it. Pablo followed him. They sprinted into the woods. Logan ran ahead. He was fast. It was hard for Pablo to keep up. The air was hot and sticky. Logan went up a hill. Then he turned left. After a few minutes, he turned right. He checked to see if Pablo was still behind him. His partner was out of breath, but had kept him in sight. The woods were thick. Logan zigzagged through the trees. "Logan!" Pablo called out. "Stop!" He finally stopped. Then he turned and grinned. Pablo was out of breath. He was mad, too. "So where is the gold?" he shouted. "You got me, smart guy," Logan laughed. "It was just a joke." "It was a bad joke," Pablo said. "We need to head back. Mrs. Hunt will be worried." The forest was still and quiet. Pablo looked around. He could not see the trail anywhere. "Do you know where we are?" he asked. "Not really," Logan shrugged. "I'm sure we can find our way back. First, I need a drink. It's hot out here." "Agreed," Pablo said. Logan opened his bag. He pulled out an empty water bottle. Pablo's bottle was empty, too. "Let's call for help." Logan checked his phone and groaned. "There's no signal out here." His mouth felt dry. Sweat dripped from his face. "What are we going to do?" "We have to find water." The boys started to walk back the way they came. Nearby, they found a small pond. "We can't drink that," Logan said. "The water is brown." Next to the pond, Pablo saw an old fire pit. "Look, someone made a fire here. See the burned wood?" "So what?" "I have an idea," Pablo replied. "Find some small rocks, sand too, and give me your water bottle." Logan began to gather rocks. "What is your plan?" he asked. "We're going to make a water filter." Pablo found a sharp rock nearby. He turned his bottle over and cut the bottom off. Next, he tore off some of his shirt. Then he pushed it down into the bottle. Logan came back. In one hand, he had small rocks. The other held sand. Pablo picked up the charred wood. "See this?" he said. "This burned part is carbon. It will clean the water." Pablo broke the wood into pieces and put them in the bottle. Then he added a layer of small rocks. On top of that, he poured some sand. Another layer of rocks came next. Finally, he added more sand. "Take your bottle," Pablo said. "Go get some pond water." Logan returned with the brown liquid. He poured it into the filter. The pond water dripped down through the layers. It came out the other side. "Catch it with your bottle," Pablo said. "Wow," Logan said. "The water looks clear. That is so cool. Where did you learn that?" Pablo smiled. "It's science." "Can I drink it?" Logan asked. "Not yet. We need to filter it again." They repeated the process a few more times. Soon the water was completely clear. Then they tried it. "Not bad," Pablo said. "See? All the layers cleaned the water." Logan smiled. "It's science." "Now we just have to get back to the trail," Pablo said. "Do you know the way?" Logan shook his head. The old fire pit gave Logan an idea. "What if we build a small fire? Someone will see the smoke. Then they will find us." "Are you sure?" Pablo replied. "We might get in trouble." Logan gave him a look. "Do you have a better plan?" "Okay," Pablo sighed, "but we have to be careful." They found some dry twigs. These went in the pit. "How will we start it?" Logan asked. "Rub 2 sticks together?" Pablo looked in his bag. He found an empty soda can. A chocolate bar was stuffed into a pocket, too. "This could work," Pablo said. He tore off another piece of his shirt and turned the can over. "See this part? It's silver and dull." "So?" "I'm going to make it shine," Pablo said. "How will that start a fire?" "Just watch." Pablo opened the chocolate bar. He put some chocolate in the fabric. Then he rubbed it on the bottom of the can. The dull metal began to shine. The whole time, Logan watched. "What are you doing?" he asked. Pablo rubbed harder. "The chocolate acts like a polish." "Wow," Logan said. "Look at that shine." "I need a small twig." Logan handed him one. Pablo turned the bottom of the can toward the sun. "This will reflect the sun's rays." Next, he held the twig over the can. Sunlight hit the can's shiny bottom. Soon, the twig began to smoke. "I see it," Logan said. "The twig is about to burn." "It needs air to get started," Pablo said. The pear began blowing on the twig. Then Logan turned. "Wait, did you hear that?" There were voices in the woods. "Logan, can you hear us? Pablo, are you there?" "It's the class," Logan said. "They found us." "Here we are," Pablo called out. "Over here," Logan shouted. Pablo threw the twig in the pond. He turned and began to run toward the voices. Logan grabbed his arm. "Wait," he said. "Thanks." For what? Pablo asked. Everything, Logan replied. I mean it. What you did was very cool. Will you show me more science stuff? Pablo smiled. Sure, if you don't mind being a nerd. They both laughed. Together, they walked back to their classmates.